Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Paul, aka Powerhouse21. And for about 15 years, I've actually been building computers. And during that time, I have been asked quite a lot, how do I know if I'm getting a good deal on a used computer? Because there is Craigslist, because there's eBay, you can find all of these parts all over the place. For me, I can spot a good deal, but there's also ways that I guarantee that I'm getting a good deal as well. But for a person that doesn't know computer components as well as I might, this is definitely something of a problem, because there are a lot of posts out there on Craigslist or eBay that are asking a little too much for the components that are inside the pre-built computer or custom built computer, whatever the case may be. But what I want to do today is actually show you a few examples of some overpriced, and kind of show you how I get to that assessment of that price or what is in the computer itself. And I also want to try to find an example of a good deal, one that I would absolutely jump on if I was in need of a computer right now. So sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and learn about some good deals and some bad deals when buying online. All right, so one of the first ones that I found that gives a good example of what you may need to know about buying a PC, especially this one, the Monster Custom Gaming PC for $2,500. First off, I'm going to show you how I go through and find out what the system is really worth. So if I were to look up all of these parts, be it on eBay, be it on Amazon, anything like that, I'm looking for what they currently go for if they're refurbished or brand new from major retailers like Amazon, Newegg, there's a bunch of other places that I look as well. I also look at the stats of each of the parts, and I'll go through all of this in a second, but I just wanted to give you kind of a rundown of what I look for and where I look. When I look on eBay, it of course is always in the sold items category. I don't want to look at the prices that they are going for. I want to see what they've sold for. So when we look for the parts in this particular machine, the Monster Custom Gaming PC for $2,500, first thing is I always look at the photos. What does it look like? Does it have good cable management? Is it dusty? Is it dirty? And obviously those things can be all cleaned out, but sometimes you will find them and they're quite dusty, quite dirty. The cable management is pretty poor. So those are definitely things that you want to look out for right away. And then you just cycle through the photos. This doesn't have a whole lot of photos compared to other ones that I've seen, and they are pretty dark, so it's kind of hard to tell what they are. So a lot of the things that I was looking for, I had to guess. That's okay though. But when I start looking for each of these pieces, I have to find an equivalent item in eBay, Amazon, Newegg, just any online retailer that I can at least get some sort of average price from, because the ridiculous prices when you search on Google, they could come up as the Asus Sabertooth board for $653. That's not a real price. I mean, they may be asking that, but you could basically retail this for right around $250, $300, and it just really depends on what you're looking for. This is the real board, and Amazon is asking, or the used one rather, from the similar sellers, are looking for $368.68 and free shipping. So you are looking at quite a high price for this. But when you start looking on eBay, you're finding averages of $155 with $10 shipping, $145 with $20 shipping, $78 with $18 shipping, things like that. So I'm finding those averages. So I'm going through and I'm actually making a spreadsheet. So this spreadsheet right here will tell me what I'm looking at if I were to buy the item either refurbished or new. In this case, the i5 4670K goes for $299 from major retailers. And then as an average, I'm seeing $124. So that's definitely a big difference from buying it what I would consider new from Amazon, because a lot of the times they'll just keep things on the shelf and then sell them at full price because they're not really out anything. When it sits on the shelf, somebody at some point will have to replace one, especially with machines that nobody wants to upgrade anymore. Unfortunately, some people could be stuck paying retail price if they don't want to go to eBay. But in this case, we're looking at quite a big difference, $299 to $124. I found images online and I have narrowed down this particular Be Quiet CPU cooler to the Dark Rock Pro. I looked at an average of right around $80. Sometimes it was in the 75, sometimes it was 90, but I put it right there at 80 bucks. On average, I was finding that for 40 on eBay. Asus is coming in right around, or the Asus motherboard rather, is coming in at 280, and on eBay it's coming in at 133. Now going down the line of this, getting down into Windows 10, because I know I will get a question about that. If you buy it retail, it is $100, $110, $120, depending on where you live, where you're getting it from. Of course, there are websites out there that will give you an online key. People have differing opinions about those sites, but if I were to have to rebuild this and put Windows 10 on it, you can get it for right between $15, $20, $25. So I put it at $25 for the highest price that I know that I could find it. This one, of course, already comes with Windows 7 Pro, but if I'm wanting to be able to, use my Xbox One controller, that of course, if I understand correctly, only works with Windows 10, so I would need to upgrade. I also, on any build that I see, I always put this pre-assembly allowance in there. And the only reason I do that is because when I worked at a computer store building computers, they used to charge $129.99 for a build and an install of Windows and things like that, but they would fully test it. They would check all the components. They would basically synthetically test it for 72 hours or so, sometimes more, sometimes less, and it gave a great benchmark as to what the system is going to do during those tests. So we checked for heat, we checked for performance, we made sure that nothing would fail. And when you're running synthetic tests for 72 hours at full blast, you are definitely putting a lot of stress on that machine. You are looking for things to fail. As an assembly allowance for me, I usually give 50 bucks just because for somebody's time, if they're not doing it for the money and they're just trying to help people out. And that's how I build my machines for people. I normally really don't charge anybody anything, and that's just because I really like building and I really like helping people that don't want to get screwed by a big box store. So that to me, 50 bucks, I usually toss that in there. So with all of that, I'm finding $1678 for a total, and I'm finding $890 for the total on the other parts. The problem is the person on the Craigslist post is asking $2,500. We're looking at a difference of $1,600. It does come with a 250 gig SSD. I had to assume that because of the time frame that this computer was built, it was more than likely an 840 or an 850. I went off of the Evo series. I'm not sure if Evo at that point existed, but I tried to give the benefit of the doubt, so 143 and 63. For the Seagate hard drive on this, I did go through and look for the Seagate Barracuda, which is the most common 1 terabyte drive that I've seen built in something of this age. So right now we're looking at an example of somebody asking a little too much or a lot too much, however you would describe this. And of course, these prices will vary. They're just what I found today. So the PC that I found that I actually really like, I think this is a steal of a deal. I've been looking at this one, and honestly, if this is still up in a couple days, I may actually jump on this one myself. I really like this machine. I think it has a lot of horsepower for the amount. And when I put all of the pieces of this together, it seems like a really good deal. The biggest thing for me is when I go into looking for Passmark scores, I will go to passmark.com. That's the normal website you can go to find this. You would go to benchmarks and then CPU or video card. You can also go to cpubenchmark.net. It'll get you to this page. But when you're in here, you click the high-end CPUs if you're looking in a high-end CPU. And normally if you're looking for a gaming machine, you probably are. A lot of the times I'll go ahead and just hit Control F to find something. And if I were to look for my particular CPU, I would be looking for the 4960X. So when it comes up, it gives me a score of 13,807. Definitely puts me right in the middle of not too shabby to, and there's a lot more above that with the new Xeon Golds and the i9s. But, that's not what I'm using. I'm using an amazing 4th gen Extreme Edition processor. It's a 6-core, 12-thread, overclocked to 4.1 gigahertz, and it's on water. I like it. It's an all-in-one water cooler. I don't do the custom loops and things like that. There's just a whole lot of things that I personally think can go wrong, but there are definitely people out there that are so skilled at custom water loops that I would not have any problem with some of them building me something like that. I just don't think I trust myself at this point. I stick to all-in-ones, and I really like that. But when we're looking for this PC's processor, we're looking for the 4770K. It is overclockable, turbo speed of 3.9. It's 4 cores and 2 logical cores per physical, so you're looking at 8 total. It scores in at 10102. That is absolutely amazing for a 4th gen processor if all you're looking to do is game. I mean, this machine right here, 4770K, H100i, so that's the double 120 millimeter fan, so a 240 millimeter radiator, all in one. It's the V2 MSI motherboard. It's a Z97, so it goes with the K series. That would be overclockable. You're looking at 32 gig of Vengeance Pro Corsair, Vengeance Pro RAM. It's in the red. I love this red as well. And these cables and everything coming off of this, I think this is absolutely gorgeous. It's just really put together well. Great cable management. Got the cable combs in here. Everything is nice and tight. Everything's put in its place. The one thing I don't know of what's in this machine is the power supply. So I went ahead and estimated that, and that should be pretty close. That would be a question that I would ask this particular seller. But even with the rest of it, it doesn't have a regular hard drive in it. It just has the SSD. It is a 525 gigabyte SSD. It's a Crucial MX300, so I'm not really sure what the speeds are of that particular solid state, but they do perform. I have had Crucial before, and they range from 73, 90, 90, 80. So we're talking kind of all over the board for pricing. It does have an 8 gigabyte GTX 1070 in there as well, and a really gorgeous case. I really like this case as well. So looking through some of these items, here's the dual 120 radiator. I estimated an EVGA Supernova, and the only reason I did that was because it was kind of a good middle-of-the-road Gold Series PSU. $70 from Newegg, new, and I think I went on and found a bit of an average as well. So when I go back into my pricing list here, we have the 4770K at $369 because it is the i7. The other one was actually an i5, so I was a little more surprised that they were asking so much for it. This one being an i7 is absolutely amazing. $175 for the Craigslist and eBay average, H100i, used. Unfortunately, when it does come to something with water, there is a lifespan of those devices. In the last 3 of the H100Is that I've had to send 2 of the 3 back for RMA. They've all been within warranty. Nothing has happened to my computer or my CPU. They've all, if I come home and my computer is randomly off, it happens. It does definitely happen from time to time. Maybe that's my luck, but if anybody else out there has had issues with all-in-ones, that's what I would say my worst fear is, but at least my system is smart enough to go into thermal shutdown. It shuts down, I come home, I figure out what's going on, I either send it in and slap on my 212 Evo just for the time being, or maybe it's time for me to look for a different brand. I hope not. I really like Corsair though. The MSI Z97, like I said, it goes with the K series for overclocking. Vengeance Pro RAM. It is the 2400 speed. That's pretty amazing as well. PSU not listed, so I had to average that. Windows 10, same thing as before, $100 or 25. The pre-assembly allowance, like I described before. This one, if I added everything retail and the pre-assembly allowance, we're looking at $2166. I found every piece on here for $1195. He's asking $800. That is a difference of $395 in the green, which is really good. It's not over the asking price at all. That is just, the total is over the asking price, but the asking price is a lot lower than that, so I'm very impressed with this particular machine. If I were to need a 4770K for any reason, I think I would probably go get this one as well. And there's just something else about this case that I like. It is so clean. There's something about it. So props to the person selling this particular computer. Looks great, and this is definitely something that I would suggest. All right, there you have it. Those are the tactics that I use to look for used computers on Craigslist. Checking out what the prices for the components are going for on eBay, seeing what they were new, trying to find that delicate balance between not offending the seller, but also getting a good deal for yourself while not getting screwed in the process. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gives you a little bit of information that you may not have had before. For all of the people that are PC builders out there, you probably have a bunch of issues with what I've said so far, and that's okay, because every computer builder will have their preference on parts, they'll have their preference on building styles, case styles, they'll have requirements that a processor be faster and get a lower level video card. For me, I'm kind of the opposite. I like a middle of the road generation CPU, but a high graphics card, and that gives me the best experience that I'm looking for, but your mileage may vary. But for all of the people that are out there that do build computers, I hope you've enjoyed the information that I can give, and I hope all of the people out there that are either looking for PCs, looking to get into PC gaming, maybe you're coming from a console and don't know what you're looking for, that's okay. There are a lot of videos out here on YouTube and also a lot of forum posts and Reddit. They'll always be happy to give you all of the advice they can. Sometimes it's a bit condescending, but that's all right. I know everybody means well and everybody wants people to get the best deal possible and not be screwed. So take what I say with a grain of salt, but also make sure you do your research when you are buying computer components or full-built computers. and I hope this has helped you out immensely. Now that you've heard all of the information that I have about buying a computer on Craigslist, if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Think about subscribing and hit that little bell so you can get a notification anytime I put something out. And this, like I say on all the end of my videos, this is always a great opportunity for me to keep practicing my editing. So if you have any sort of feedback for the quality of the video or audio or editing techniques that I should be utilizing, or something that I should look into, definitely let me know. I really like constructive criticism, and I just hope to get better over time. So thank you so much for watching. Like I said, hit that thumbs up, and I will see you again next time.